Love Lost, Love Found. A Woman's Guide to Letting Go of the Past and Finding New Love by Tatiana Jerome. Narrated by Margaret Jewell West. Preface. Things seem to be going okay. So what if he didn't put down the toilet seat? So what if he couldn't seem to pick me up on time or hadn't made any real plans with me? Nobody's perfect, right? No one has a perfect relationship. We had a good time, for the most part. In our 3-year relationship, the good outweighed the bad. We moved in together partly because he was about to be evicted and I wanted to be there for him. I also thought it would make us grow closer. I like to go out from time to time and he likes to stay home, so we compromised. We would go to a movie every now and then, but mostly we'd stay home. I would cook us a meal and, one thing led to another and we would knock out. I wouldn't really call that a date, but it was time with my love. Overall, things were good, and much better than they were in my last relationship, which was long distance. Well, not really long distance. He was just 2 hours away, but he hardly ever came to see me. I was used to seeing him about once every 2 months, and he rarely wanted to talk on the phone. When I did speak to him, he really didn't have much to say, and he never asked about me. So this was much better. I was happy, until the day my partner called from work to say he wanted to end things. I spent the first 3 hours after that call trying to figure out why. The only thing he could tell me is that things weren't working out. He said he had asked me time and time again to change certain things, but that I never did. He said I nagged too much, that I'm not down for him, that I'm always trying to start trouble. It was hard for me to think, and I couldn't stop my tears. Are you serious? That's all that came to mind to say. He ended the conversation by telling me I'm not who I used to be. He said he would come and get his things when I was at work. I can't even say I was shocked. It's not like we hadn't broken up before. It's not like we hadn't done the whole breakup to makeup thing. But it's been more than a month, and I haven't heard from him. I guess it's really over. Ladies, if this is you, stop right here. Maybe you're thinking, wait, that can't be the whole story. I want to know the details. Maybe I can relate to them. You might even be saying, well, at least he was better than your ex. Ugh, I'm here to tell you right now, stop that kind of thinking. Just stop it. The details do not matter, and they never will. Just as you learned in school, there's the main idea, and then there's the details to support the main idea. Well, the main idea has already played out. It's over. The only person holding on to the details of your relationship is you, because you want answers. If he cared about the details, then splitting up would have been a topic of discussion rather than a unilateral choice. His. The details do not matter. All the things you did for him do not matter. Your sacrifices do not matter. They did not make a strong enough impact on his choice. Yes, you don't throw away a relationship without trying to fix it first, but, and this is a big but, if you're the only one trying to fix it, it will never work out. If there was never a place for God in the relationship, then there was never any room for solutions to your problems to present themselves. If you ended it because you know your worth, this part is for you. If you are the one who ended it, then congratulations. It was probably one of the hardest things you've ever had to do. You didn't want to end it, but maybe secretly you did. Maybe the relationship wasn't always this bad, but it also wasn't getting any better. It was clear you were being taken for granted, that you were being used as a backup plan or a safety net by your partner. You were no longer considered a gift to him. So you did what you had to do and you ended it. You said goodbye. Or did you really? Did you say goodbye and then end all communication with him? On social media, email, and so forth? Or did you say goodbye without really believing it had ended? Just because you were the one to let go doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Maybe you felt relief at removing yourself from the situation, but that doesn't mean the pain is gone. That doesn't make it any easier to deal with. So this is your time to mourn. This is your time to figure out what's next. It's not your time to figure out what to do if he contacts you. It's not your time to figure out if he's thinking about you. You are only delaying the healing process. You are allowed to let the tears run. You are allowed to feel pain, hurt, anger, and disappointment. You are allowed to miss him, But that doesn't mean you have to go back. No one said letting go would be easy, but now you are no longer tied to a toxic situation. The thing is, you knew it was going to happen. Somewhere inside you, you knew. You knew the relationship was going to end because it was going against your spirit. If you really took the time to search within yourself, over time you'd realize that you knew this was not right for you and that things had to come to an end. You knew you had to let go. You knew you couldn't change things or him. You knew things were not going to get better. Your spirit tells you when people and situations no longer serve you or are detrimental to you. You can either take heed and listen from within, or you can negotiate and make excuses for what the spirit knows and sees. The longer you prolong the process of letting go, the louder your spirit becomes, trying to protect itself from being silenced, and you from being stuck, no longer able to make the best decisions for yourself. I always say the connection you have with someone happens when two spirits meet before you physically do, and by the same token, your spirit knows how to guide you in the right direction, if only you would listen to it instead of questioning it. Your spirit knows when to accept what is beneficial to you and when to reject what is harmful. If you haven't been listening to your spirit for quite some time, it may have taken you longer to notice what you should have seen earlier. Regardless of what has happened, you are an intelligent woman who knows when things are not headed in the right direction. You are able to see that what he once did to attract you, he no longer does. You are aware of the excuses being made. You are keen to his next, "I don't know. I don't have the time. I'm focused on making money. I'm focused on doing what I have to do. And I'm not ready." You knew it was only a matter of time before things had to end. Within you, you knew. You may not have acknowledged it, but you knew. All the signs were there. Everything that told you to end it, such as body language, was clear. You asked God for a sign, and he gave you more than one. It was just a matter of time before you did something about it, after you overcame your fears, the what-ifs, and the memories, good and bad. The time came to choose better treatment, to choose love and support over indifference and maybe even mistreatment. You're probably experiencing a range of emotions, from wanting him back to asking yourself if ending it was really the right choice, to thinking maybe you were too drastic, to believing you're better off without him, to feeling sad and wondering if all these things will ever go away. When God is present within you, he will protect you. He will provide for you, and he is waiting for you to look to him for all your answers and to be patient about the process of healing. You are seeking God, and he is there. You made a decision, so now what? Now it's time for you to stick to your decision. There is no looking back. There are no what-ifs. Right now is what you have. Your present and your future are the only things you can invest in. Your decision to move forward is what's best for you, and if you have kids, then it's best for them too. Your decision indicates that far from being lost, you are more than capable of making healthy choices to get you to a better place. Remember, you didn't always feel like this. You weren't always wondering, what now, and feeling pain. You once felt joy and excitement about what was to come, and most important, you felt loved. You can and will feel these things again. There is no doubt about that, and no doubt that you will take the path required to get you there. Your current feelings will not last forever. Right now, put your relationship with God and yourself first. Right now, get back to tending to yourself and making your feelings, needs, and wants a priority. Right now, start believing that better days are here. You are already in a better place because you made a decision. You are already starting to heal. So put the things of the past behind you. Put your excuses behind you, and put his excuses behind you too. It's truly time to heal. Healing may not happen right away. There is always a choice between truly healing and staying stuck in pain. When you truly heal, you are open to possibilities. You allow God to use you. Your focus remains on God and your relationship with him. You feel strong enough to achieve your goals. You are genuinely in a happier place. Healing enables you to attract like-minded people. You think and talk about doing better and being better. You are uplifting to others. And most important, you love yourself 10 times more. You work on your shortcomings and expect improvement. You bring forth better opportunities and summon love to enter your life. Your spirit becomes more attractive, and your presence is welcomed. When you don't truly heal, you stay stuck in pain. You become too guarded. And by that I mean that you are not approachable or open-minded to God's way of bringing what is divine and right for you. You focus on the negative things that could happen and function out of fear. You make excuses about why good things cannot happen for you. You make assumptions about people and situations. When you are still angry inside and pushing people away from you, you are not really healing. You are envious of other people's happiness, and you expect disappointment instead of success. Responding to a breakup this way is not true healing, but rather a way to stay bruised and isolated from any blessing. Your healing process is a very delicate time. To truly heal requires time and patience. It's time to get back to happy, get back to love, and start this whole process over the right way. 1. The fundamental can'ts. The moment you start thinking about all the things you did wrong in your relationship, all the things you should have said and done, should have done differently, and should have spotted before they happened, is the moment you've decided to put yourself through misery. Yes, taking responsibility is a big part of the healing process, but failing to recognize his shortcomings and making excuses for him only keeps you in a state of denial. Whether you allowed him to make you feel a certain way about the state of your relationship, or you are choosing to protect his reputation, the fundamental truth is, you only have control over your own actions and words. While certain actions can evoke a variety of responses, both verbal and physical, you cannot control or take the full blame for the demise of the relationship, nor should you want to. When you do this, you are essentially letting him off the hook and downplaying his role in helping the relationship come to an end. Even if you decide to examine every single detail of your previous relationship, and I advise against it, there are a few fundamental can'ts that you should always keep in mind when moving forward in your healing. 1. You can't make a man fall in love with you. No matter how strong your feelings are for him, or how well you cook and clean and love all over him, you cannot make a man fall in love with you. If he is not ready to love you, there is nothing you can do to change that. The amount of energy you used to give to catering to your partner should now be redirected to loving and respecting yourself. 2. You can't change a man. Change happens within a person when something tragic occurs, when something amazing happens, or when a person simply wants to change. You cannot nag, beg, or manipulate change to happen in someone else. Any change that occurs within a person, good or bad, is of that person's own doing. If he willingly makes the effort to change an attribute of his behavior to improve himself, it is because he wants to, not because he was forced to. 3. You can't believe everything you're told. Words are just that, words. Without actions to support them, they mean nothing. If someone tells you he loves you but never acts lovingly toward you, why would you believe him? If someone says she is sorry but continues to do the same things for which she claimed she was sorry, how can you believe she is truly sorry? Remember that words market, but action sells. 4. You can't rely on a single action. Yes, I know I just said that actions sell, but I'm going to add that actions do not matter as much as patterns. After all, a person can do something once or twice and then choose to stop. It's when actions become a pattern that they really matter. An action that has become a pattern is known as a habit, good or bad. So if he does something for the first time, such as waving his hand in front of your face when he makes a point, and you laugh it off, then he can decide to make a habit out of it. If the first time you step off a sidewalk to cross the street in your 5-inch heels he grabs your hand, and you give him a favorable reaction, he can decide to do this again and again until it becomes a habit. But if he does these things once or twice and no more, then you cannot make a judgment call about his true behavior. 5. You can't stop being you. When you're in a relationship, you should never stop being yourself. Many women who do this fail to realize that their guy met them and liked them for who they are, or at least who they presented themselves to be. Taking on someone else's identity rather than being true to yourself has negative effects, not only on your self-esteem, but also on your relationships with your family and friends. You should always have interests outside your relationship and continue to improve yourself as an individual. 2. The roller coaster of reactions. Most breakups come with a series of feelings that dictate how we act and that essentially shape our day. You may feel happy one minute and upset the next when a sudden memory from your past relationship floats up. It's okay to feel these feelings, but remember that you base your reactions to situations and people on how you are feeling. Your feelings are just a mirror of the beliefs you hold about your past relationship. How you feel is based on what you believed the relationship was supposed to be. These feelings are not something that can be brushed away, but with a bit of work they can certainly be tamed. Below is a list of emotions you have probably felt at one time or another, or are currently feeling. Angry. Who does he think he is? I can't believe he never apologized. Now he wants to play the victim after everything I've done for him, after all the things I overlooked and forgave him for. My family warned me about him. I lowered my standards in order to date him. I didn't really want to be with him in the beginning, and this is how he repays me? It's one lie after another. All I did was love him. This is how he's going to treat me? He had no respect for me or this relationship. I put up with so much to make this thing between us work, and all he can think about is his needs. He acts as if he is the only one who matters in this relationship. So everything about our relationship was a lie. Was nothing real to him? How can he be so selfish? Confused. Is it really over? How did we even get here? Everything was good just a week ago. I thought we were on the same page, but just reading it in different languages. I just met his mom and his best friend. What was that all about? Why did he tell me I was his forever? How can he say he loves me, but then put all these other things and people before us, before me? Why did I cry more than I laughed in this relationship? One minute he tells me he knows what he wants, and the next he's saying we're moving too fast. I never asked him to be anyone but himself, and now I'm seeing a whole different person. He told me to wait for him, but now he can't wait for me? He knew who I was and what I was about before we got together, so why is he acting like he can't handle it now? Stupid. He made such a fool of me in front of our families and friends. I can't believe I let it last this long. I should have been the one to end this relationship. I knew better. I knew the whole time. I refused to listen to anybody but him. I stood up for him, and yet he never changed. He disrespected me and treated my feelings like they were nothing. I should have trusted my intuition. He really thinks I'm that dumb. He's been saying the same thing for so long, and I continued to believe in him. I can't believe I let him play me. Every time he asked for something, I said yes, even when I was too tired or too sick to do it. I made so many sacrifices to help him, no questions asked, and this is the thanks I get. I knew he couldn't be trusted, and I still said yes. I let my guard down for this? For him? What was I thinking? Indifferent. Here we go again. This is nothing new. I'm over it. It was going to happen anyway. It is what it is. I don't have time to think about him. I have so many other things to focus on. If he calls, he calls. If he doesn't, whatever. It's not like he was my soulmate. I saw this coming, but just didn't expect it to happen now. He'll be back. This isn't the first time we've broken up. He always comes back with an excuse. I'm used to this. I'm used to him acting like this. I'm always the mature one in this relationship. It's gotten to the point where I just let him be. I know I can't change him, so I don't even say anything. I don't have the strength for this or for him. Happy. This is finally over. What a mess I was in. I'm no longer stuck. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I knew I was too good for him. I was too good for that relationship. It was only a matter of time before it came to an end. I can finally move on. I can get back to me. I am in the zone and working on being happy. I get to attend to my needs instead of putting his before mine. I feel like I'm winning. I'm in a good place. This is a different kind of happy. There are no conditions to my happiness now. I feel at peace now. I now know what I want. I know what I want love to look like in my life. I thank God for removing what no longer serves me. I'd been holding on way too long, but God rescued me. Excited. I can't wait to see what the future holds. I'm going to work on all the things I want to improve so that my next relationship will be 100 times better. I have so much hope and excitement about all the amazing people I'm going to meet. I know I'm ready. I will finally put myself in a real relationship that provides mutual support and love. I can finally take the time to love me and accomplish my goals without wondering what he's up to. I can sleep at night, knowing that no one is playing games with my heart. I'm putting myself in a place to be in a real relationship with someone who will pray with me and for us. I'll put myself in a position where not only will I feel love, but everyone will be able to see our love, and not just our issues. I don't need to try to get back together for the 8th time. I get a fresh, new start. I no longer have to worry about him, and he doesn't need to worry about me. I want only to wish him the best. Crazy. Oh, so he thinks he can end it like this? He doesn't know all the stuff I know about him. I will terrorize him. He doesn't know me. He thought it was bad before. Well, wait till he sees how much worse it's about to get. He'd better not be talking to another female on Facebook. He'd better pick up when I call him. I should stop by his workplace and let everyone know what kind of man he really is. I'm protecting all women from men like him. I miss him. Maybe we can work this out. I probably didn't hear right. Nah, that bastard deserves to feel what I'm feeling. I need to let him know exactly who I think he is. I'm going to keep calling till he picks up. Oh, his voicemail box is full. Well, I'll just hit him up on iMessenger. Defeated. Why didn't I see this coming? I knew it wasn't going to work out. I should never have texted him. Why do I even feel this way? I never make good choices. I never should have told him I loved him. I never should have lent him money. I never received a thank you for half the things I did. Why can't he just call me back? What did I ever do to him that he should treat me like this? He always told me I never got it. I was never really his it girl. I believed him when he told me to wait on him. When he didn't come home or call me back, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I'm the one who needs help. Understanding your feelings and taking control. Breakups can bring up every emotion in the book, and we've all been through them. One minute you're just fine, and the next you feel like your world just came tumbling down. The heartache you're feeling just cannot compare to anything else you've felt, outside of something really tragic. You feel alone. Even your ex can't seem to understand your pain. The people around you say they understand and keep telling you that it will get better, but you just can't take in what they are saying. You want to know when. Sometimes you may even subconsciously enjoy the pain, because it's the only way you feel you can stay connected to your ex. Even during this roller coaster ride, you feel like you are going crazy and start doing things that are out of character for you. All the things you said you would never do, you find yourself doing, and justifying your reasons for doing them. If anyone were to know half the things you were doing or saying, he or she would definitely identify you as crazy. So crazy that some might even think that you're suffering from a nervous breakdown. One minute you hate him, wondering how he could do this to you, and the next you're texting him, telling him you love him and that you want to work it out. And then if you get no response, you're back to saying he's a joke. Then you tell yourself you need to focus on you, right? You need to get realigned with who you once were. Like, who does he think he is? How could he end the relationship when you're the one who had every reason to end it? Why didn't you end it? Why didn't you say something? How did he get control over this relationship? And then the game playing starts. Those accidental late-night texts. The things you say at night that you wouldn't say in the clear light of day. This is the period when you're trying to feel him out. You start writing your thesis on iMessenger. You want to find ways to see him, so you communicate with him on social media. You try calling and messaging him and get nothing. Not one response. So this just amps you up even more. Who is he not to respond to you? All these years, all the things you did for him, everything he said to you. So now you're stalking him on social media, checking out what his friends and family are posting to see if he's having a good time. You're wondering if he's feeling it like you are. And of course you find nothing to tell you how he's really doing. You just find more reasons to get mad. As if all that weren't enough, you start wanting to take the blame for the breakup. You start saying things like, well, I shouldn't have acted that way. I could have done this better. Yeah, I was wrong for doing that. And then, of course, you feel even more alone and learn that you just have to go through the pain. Nothing is going to make this better. Nothing but time and prayer. Some days you're able to get excited about your future, and other days you can barely make it. Your heart is broken, and now it needs your spirit and mind to help it heal. You have two options. Either you can do nothing and continue to feel this way, or you can move forward, expecting a much brighter future. Yes, from time to time you may have relationship flashbacks, and you may have deep heartbreak scars, but those scars just mean you survived, that you know what heartbreak feels like. These scars and your memories, good and bad, serve to redefine your character and create a much stronger version of you. When will this ever end? After a breakup, you might wonder if you'll ever feel like yourself again. You're getting sick of all the ups and downs. It has to end, right? Well, for most of us, it's a process. I mean, you can't just turn on and off your emotions like a light switch. A very few people are able to move forward without much pain, but they still had to go through the process. Maybe it just seemed easier because they went through the process while they still had the title of being in a relationship. Perhaps you've broken up with your partner mentally and spiritually, but not physically. So on the outside it may look as if you're having an easier time moving forward, but the truth is you did your suffering while you were still with him. You keep thinking that with each breakup it will get easier, but it doesn't. As long as you opened yourself up emotionally while you were in the relationship, the heartbreak will be there. Though the darkness of the pain can't seem to go by fast enough, the truth is the light at the end of the tunnel is actually closer than you think. How soon you see that light depends on whether you resist moving forward or accept what is happening. If you truly love someone, in the purest sense of the word, you will never stop loving him. You just understand and believe that you deserve better. And just because you love someone doesn't mean you are meant to be with him. Your time in each other's lives has come to an end. The next chapter of your life does not involve him. In fact, you can't get to the next chapter while still being focused on him, and vice versa. He can't grow as a person with you. You may want to believe that he can, but right now, he cannot. Sometimes, in order for you to evolve, you need to leave certain things and people behind. And it just so happens that he is one of those people who can no longer have a front row seat in your life. Your process needs you to accept that it will take time and prayer. Along the way, you will be detoxified. You will be purified by going through all these challenges. You must resist doing certain things, going to certain places, and reacting to certain things you hear. Your mountain to climb comes with a few bumps, rocky paths, snakes, and more, but reaching the top comes with victory and a great perspective. You will have some cloudy days, but eventually all will be clear again. Any indecisiveness you had about your relationship will now be replaced by some definitive truths. You will form your own new reality. In this period of detox, more about that later, You will learn to let go of anger, resentment, negative thoughts, self-doubt, and all the things you cannot control. You need to grow stronger, so it's time to give your emotional muscle, as well as your spirit, a good workout. Your belief in love, which you may feel is slipping away, is actually being tested. You'll probably play Beyoncé's recording of Me, Myself, and I 1,000 times, and that's okay. Right now it's about you. It's about reconnecting with God and with yourself. While you know that this is not the end of your life, the pain sure makes it feel that way sometimes. You just have to take it one moment at a time, 1 hour at a time, and 1 day at a time. During this time, you'll realize you've given so much of yourself to get a love you never really had, and that it's time to reroute your energy. You can't put a deadline on your healing, but you must decide that you're going to move forward. Anytime you feel an emotion, just embrace it. You are allowed to feel angry, hurt, crazy, and more. The key is to not act on these feelings, which I'll discuss in more detail in the next section. Acknowledge that you feel a certain way, rather than putting it to the side or resisting your feelings. Resistance only causes you more pain and delays your healing. This is your time to be truthful with yourself. It is said that you can't cry over spilled milk, but right now you can, and you should. Embracing your feelings doesn't mean not being responsible for your part in what happened. It just means that you are letting it all out. You are facing your feelings and yourself. You are not waiting for the other person to save you from your pain. You are dealing with it yourself. You know that the one who caused the pain cannot possibly heal you from the pain. Only you can do that. Your ex can only put a bandage over the wound, if you allow him to do so, and that will only be a temporary fix until you deal with the problem head-on. Your process may end when you least expect it. One day you will wake up and realize that you're no longer entertaining the same old thoughts, and that you no longer have the same feelings as you did right after the breakup. You'll just feel thankful for and energized by what's to come. It may even come as a surprise to you that your feelings are now tamed. You no longer seem to think or care about the relationship. In fact, you'll be able to say that the whole situation only made you better. You learned a few things about yourself, and now you are equipped to avoid some of the same mistakes. You can actually laugh at some of the choices you've made. You've become stronger and better, and all it took was time. Roller coasters build momentum in the wrong direction. Earlier, I noted the importance of simply embracing all the feelings that come up, the good, the bad, and the ugly, instead of acting on them. You might be tempted to make poor decisions just to rid yourself of your pain, decisions based on your emotions. Simply put, you make decisions based on how you're feeling now rather than on what is best for you in the long run. All your logic tilts toward trying to justify why it's okay to do what you know in any other circumstance should be avoided. We will discuss this in more detail in Chapter 4, but for now, here is a handy list of some of the many actions you should avoid, at all costs. Hooking up. You know how this story goes. Hooking up with other guys just for the sake of hooking up is a big no. Doing it for revenge, especially when your ex probably doesn't even care, is immature and dangerous. No hookups. You will have to face not only the pain of your heartbreak, but also the regret you'll feel the next day. It's just not worth it. The process of healing is all about cultivating self-worth, and giving a piece of yourself away to someone who barely knows you is not the way to do that. Obsessing over the details. Another post-relationship pitfall is talking relentlessly about the details of your relationship with others, and exaggerating each moment as if it were the most epic moment of your life. Your friends know everything. You are the Nancy Drew in your own relationship, trying to unravel the mystery of why and how it all happened. But you are only doing yourself a disservice by obsessing. Get over the details. The details no longer mean anything. They are only trying to bring up unwanted feelings. No relationship is perfect, so thinking that everything had to go right for it to work is the wrong way to think. It does not matter if 1 + 2 got you to 3 and then led to 4, because none of that led to your relationship working. The details are not going to help you emerge from your emotional rut. They will just upset you, because the outcome is still the same. You are not going to get the answer to the question you've been wondering about from the details. You already know the answer. Don't let your curiosity stress you. Details only matter when it comes to self-improvement. And the truth is, in any real relationship filled with love and forgiveness, both partners are able to let go of obsessing over minutiae. Being someone other than yourself. Your mind could trick you into believing that you being you just wasn't good enough for him. Your personality and looks were just not what's in right now. This kind of thinking leads you nowhere. You should only ever consider making changes to your physical appearance or personality when you want to improve yourself for you. You must make yourself happy every day. There is nothing you can do on the outside to address the issues you have with yourself on the inside. You can get an amazing hairstyle, new clothes, a new car and house, and still feel the way you do. You are just deflecting your attention from the real problem. Your actions should serve you, not him. Calling him. This is a big no-no. No phone calls allowed. There is nothing more to discuss. Do not even think of calling his family or friends. When you break up with him, you break up with his friends and family too. That's not to say that you should be rude or that you can never talk and be cordial. But let's face it, you're calling to keep the connection intact. This is not going to help you let go. If you left something at his place or he left something at yours, consider it a loss. Don't make excuses just to communicate with him. Be firm with yourself. It gets better with time. If he calls you, you do not have to answer. No more flying across the room when the phone rings to see if it's him calling. He has nothing new to say. No more goodnight texts. You no longer play that role in his life, and he should no longer play that role in yours. If you get a call from him late at night, then you already know what it's about. If you are co-parenting, this can be a little tricky, but if the breakup is fresh, use a third-party person, such as a judge or a mediator, to handle your differences. Engaging in addictive behaviors. You cannot allow yourself to be susceptible to addictive behaviors, such as drinking, overeating, doing drugs, or sleeping excessively, just because you do not want to face this difficult time. You can't hide from this. Your hurt is not going anywhere and will travel with you everywhere you go until you deal with it. The bottle is not your best friend, and neither is food. Nor is smoking a healthy way to deal with the pain. There is no need to pick up a habit that can and will ruin you. If you won't face your pain, how will you face getting over an addictive behavior? Turn to God instead. Staying overly distracted by work. You thought you could just throw yourself into your job, right? Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing if your work is creative and allows you to express yourself. Unfortunately, many do not have this option. It's easy to hide behind work, since it is a socially acceptable distraction. Yet it's a distraction nonetheless. It doesn't help you deal with your decisions and your heartbreak. Your job just becomes an ally to the pain. You can let it fuel you, but not overtake you so much that you never get to deal with you. Rebounding. Deciding to be in a new committed relationship soon after a breakup could backfire on you. Do you really believe you are ready to be in another relationship? Are you jumping into the next one because you believe it will take your mind off your pain and your ex? How will you ever know what you really need if you are always thinking about the next man? Getting into a new relationship too soon is not fair to you or to your new partner. Can you honestly say you are going to give it a fair chance? That you won't compare the new relationship with your last? When will you give yourself your you time? These behaviors are all ways to subdue the painful thoughts and feelings that are part of the healing process. The problem with these behaviors is that they delay your healing and even invite some unwanted situations down the road. Maybe you engage in these behaviors because you feel you don't know where things went wrong, why they couldn't be fixed, and so forth. But what you will soon learn is that there is always more than one reason for why the relationship didn't last. So instead of worrying about that, turn the focus to you.